Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day. Oh my gosh, a 79 Rolls Royce with the window down. Somebody's driving that thing. Look at all this 850 going on here. It's gonna be a wonderful day. 850 day. So we're looking at replacing this timing belt stuff. Hold on a second. And it does have an Asian pump on there. That's the date on the pump. There is some oil down here. I don't know if it's coming from up here or in here somewhere. That's the serpentine belt. That's the tensioner for the timing belt. And the belt looks relatively new. We were thinking about doing a belt on this, but crazy thing is this thing is a Gates belt, Asian water pump, INA rollers. This thing has probably less than 20,000 miles on it. So I think we're gonna probably let this fly for a little while, but it is getting oil on the belt from somewhere. So we need to investigate that. We have some oil residue on the belt, so we're going to pull the cams, do cam seals behind here, also do VVT hub seals because I have those in my bag. So we're going to take this stuff off the back, put on the cam locking tool, and take these hubs apart. We are moving right along. There's some oil residue on the timing belt, so we decided to do the belt, the tensioner, the rollers, not the water pump. The water pump's like 2 years old, so we're not going to do the water pump. Because there's some residue on there, we're going to pull these hubs and replace the cam seals behind there. We have Cortico cam seals. I'm not a big supporter of them, but they're, I think, the best that you have other than the Volvos. Then these hubs, sometimes the cam seals are fine, but the hubs have a seal in them that leaks. So we're going to replace the hubs seals. We got the cam locking tool back here. There's a video linked in the description that tells you about all this stuff. Then we found this rear cam seal leaking. I normally carry them with me. I took them out of the car yesterday morning. I meant to put them back in there. I left without putting them back in there. So the owner is making a 4-hour drive to get cam seals. Expensive cam seals. You got a tank of gas, which is 60 bucks. And then you have the cam seals, which are 60 bucks. He's doing an expensive cam seal job. Anyway, I got the cam locking tool on here. My short bolts were missing out of my kit, so I need to get some more short bolts. And we got the bolts installed in there. And I'm getting ready to break these hubs loose. It appears to be a T55 instead of a T60. So I'm gonna double check my timing, take the belt off, and then measure the slack, mark the slack in the hub movement, and then break these bolts loose. Well, I'm glad I stopped through the oil eater company yesterday and got some oil eater pads, because this normally makes a big mess taking these hubs loose, and I'm catching all that oil with the oil eater pads. Got the cam locking tools on the back, and if you're not good with setting the timing on these VVT hubs, now's the time to put marks on the hubs and measure the play in them so you can get this timing back the way it was. So this hub will have some play in it. Oops. Let me get my oil catcher under here. As soon as I touched it, it started puking oil again. Board is right there, lined up with this mark right there. And 1, 2, 3, and a little bit is the other side of that mark. So that shows you how much play is in this, and you want to torque this down with that same amount of play. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that with something that won't rub off easy, and then that's where I'm gonna put this cam back when I put it back together. Do the same thing for the one on the exhaust side. It's the intake cam, that's the exhaust cam. All the way retard, I put 3 dots on it there, matching with the 3 dots I put up there. All the way advanced, I put a line right there, matching with that line right there. Now I can reach in here with my T55, break that bolt loose, pull it out, pull that hub off, and I have access to the cam seal and the seal inside that hub. There's the VVT hub, and there's a seal in there. My video camera is not good at hitting that, but see that black seal in there? That seal should be replaced along with this cam seal. So let me get those two replaced and reinstall this one. I'm looking at these VVT hub gear seals. He got some that's called something else. Now the ones that's on there, I believe, has a flat spot here that rides on there. The one that came from FCP looks thicker than the one that came from Swedish Car Parts. So we're going to try to use his, see how it goes. Make sure it sits in there properly and that seals against the shaft in there. And then we're going to replace that cam seal. So let me try to use the one that he has and go from there. His are green, mine are black like the ones that came from Volvo. They do fit in there. They do have a little raised bump edge. Very little play in there. I'm going to set mine in there just to see how mine feel. But that has not a significant raise, but a raise on it. This one definitely has a bigger raise than the ones I have. And they have a little play. Hopefully they'll be good. They'll slide over there fine, not get pinched or disoriented. They seem to fit in there deep enough, so we're going to go with these. Cam seals look very similar. They have the same size marking on them. Man, I really dislike the fact that this camera doesn't focus close. I got to be 8 inches away to get a focus. Oh, there we go. 6 inches away, got a focus. About 4 inches away, got a focus. So that's the measurement on the seals. It has a directional arrow too, which is kind of odd. You see the arrow right there on top. Directional arrow on it. And the one that's coming out has these sets of numbers. The one going in does not. Make sure you don't push this cam seal in too far. Just barely recessed. Because if it's in too far, it won't seal the hub. Let me go ahead and put this hub on here. I'm going to lubricate this seal in here. And I'm going to turn it while I install it so I could probably feel it pop on over this camshaft. Just a reminder, a detailed video of this is in the description area marked. But I got that back. I turned that bolt a little snug and it appears that my marks are lined up. I'm about to torque it to 88 foot-pounds. When I was torquing this inner bolt in, the whole cam moved just a little bit. So I'm going to smidge it off of my play in here. About 1/8 of an inch. I'm not going to sweat that because I could pull these 8mm bolts loose and adjust this with the play in the cam sprocket slots to be perfect. So that's what I'm about to do now. I'm about 1/8 of an inch off. I'm gonna put that back right there, and I'll be done with this one. I went to pull this first 8mm bolt out, and the sprocket did move a little more. So now it seems to be pretty much perfect. I'm gonna leave it there. Got these back together. We're gonna take a lunch break, come back, put this timing back together, and then work on the front bumper, and then our rear cam seal should be back. Back from lunch, we're gonna pull this bumper, get this bumper replaced. Cam seals are on their way back. They'll be here within an hour, and we'll keep on trucking. Look, it's got that extra nice heat shield at the firewall. That stuff is really good for reflecting heat back. We got the timing belt and cam situation all done. Next, we're gonna get the purge valve right there. This is the part for it. And of course, you got a vacuum line on the front of it, vacuum line on the top of it, and electrical connector on the back of it. You should be able to reach it and do this without taking anything special apart. If you're about to do cam seals, hubs, and stuff like that, you always want to look on the back of the engine, see if you have any evidence of cam seal leaks, so you can make sure you get those seals as well. You look on the bottom of that, and as you can see, that looks dry. But when you look on the bottom of the one under the rear cam seal, you see that wetness on those lines. That means that cam seal was probably leaking, and you see dirt build up as well. Oil leaks on there, and then dust builds up on there. So that's a evidence of a cam seal leak. A minor leak, but cam seal leak nonetheless. And if you're taking all this stuff off the back, might as well replace that seal if it's leaking. A lot of times I'll just have seals on deck, and if they're dry, I leave them alone. Get that purge valve replaced. I pulled the hose off the front, out of the way. I unhooked the valve from the hook. I unplugged the valve from the back, and then I unplugged that plug there. Then going back together, I plugged that in, plugged the electrical plug in the back. I hooked it back on the bracket, and then put this vacuum line on. And I'm all done. Took about 10 minutes maybe. Over on this side, we got the serpentine belt tensioner replaced. It was a breeze without this power steering pump installed. Then I installed the power steering pump, hooked up the line, installed this bracket. Now I'm ready to put the serpentine belt on, put the OTE pipe on, and start putting coolant and power steering fluid in it after I install those reservoirs. All the timing belt stuff is done, including putting the harmonic balancer on. We got the serpentine belt on, power steering pump installed, all the stuff on to get the engine to run. We changed the spark plugs, put this engine mount back on, put this wire harness stuff back on here. I'm putting the intake on now and putting the air box in so I can start this car, because the OTE pipe is on, and I do need to fill the coolant system up. We put fluid in the reservoir for the power steering pump, installed that new reservoir there, a new hose there, filled it up, cycled it through a few times. So we are moving right along. Next again is going to be the air box and the coolant, and then start the car up. And we got a headlight to test. I think this driver's side headlight is not working, so we have a used ballast to try to fix that with. So let me keep on moving on. I got the air box partially in. That mount down there doesn't seem to be touching. It's about an inch up. This mount's tight. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe this whole bracket is pivoted. I need to pivot this bracket down. So I took that one loose. That didn't help. I'm going to take this one loose, see if I can pivot this bracket and give me some slack there. And I put coolant in there, power steering fluid, I'm going to fire this thing up. I hooked up the battery. Sound like the key's on. I'm going to see if I can turn the headlights on and go from there. I'm going to start it, come out here, check the timing belt tracking, stuff like that. It's sitting on the lift. I'm going to pull these tools out of here just to reduce the chance of something falling down in there. Woohoo, 601 red with this interior. Man, that's a combo. I think the favorite is Nordic with this interior, but hey, anything works. I don't know when the last time this car was started, so I might just cycle the key a couple times. I got the clutch pedal pushed in because that's something I often forget to do. Not sure if the fuel pump is activating or not. Close the door latch. Do this one more time. It is in neutral. Space ball in neutral. Let's see if it'll start. There it is, folks. Fired right up. Noisy, noisy. I'm gonna check the level. It's quieting down. It's got a funny vibration in this belt. I don't know what that's all about. I think this belt might be on wrong. Let me check that out. Got an anti-skid error. Trunk open. And that's it. Airbag service. We're having a shudder in this. When the AC is off, it's kind of steady. When we cut the AC on, it vibrates the belt. Off, on. That's not too bad. Off. Here it is, folks. We got these high output headlights, and the passenger ones work, the drivers don't. So we're going to change the ballast, see if that fixes it. To get this ballast replaced, you got to pull a headlight. Of course, you do that after you pull a bumper. So there's a video for that. Screw here, screw down here, screw over there or two, and you pull it out. Got the headlight out, flipped it upside down, took 6 of the T20s out of it. Then you use a screwdriver and pry it open like this. And it should unplug or have a wire connections in here that you gotta figure out how to get loose. So let me take a look at those. Man, that looks bad. Looks like it took on some liquid or something. Because this one over here is not that bad. This one over here looks corroded or something. Let me pull the latch on this. Unplug this one. And then unplug the other one somehow. Probably release a latch in there somewhere. Yeah, undo that latch, unplug that one. Now I'm gonna push in the tab on that one and unplug that one down there. There's definitely a lot of water in here. I don't know how this water got in here. Water got in this light, got in that plug. I'm gonna try to dry that out and see what's going on with this gasket. Make sure this one has a better gasket. It looks like it does. And try to dry this out and hook this back up, see if it works. The light does not work. I think it has something to do with the cable that goes from the light to the ballast. That cable had corrosion in it. So let me tear that apart again and spray some contact cleaner into it this time. And maybe some WD-40. See if it gets a better connection and try it one more time. Here is the power steering pump cooler, and the hose is starting to crack on the cooler. So that probably should be replaced before too much longer. I was trying to secure this bumper on, and this clip that comes back and grabs the bumper is busted. About an inch and a quarter of it is busted off, so it's not grabbing the skin of the bumper in there. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.